Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. I am Olakunle Kasumu. Books, books, and books everywhere. You have probably met Mr. Book many times along your life's journey. Homes, schools, offices, libraries, shops, stations, religious centers, and every place imaginable. But have you ever wondered what it takes to produce a book? Apart from the writer, who else is involved in bringing a book to life? How many professionals are involved in creating a book before you see it sitting on any bookshelf, lying on any bookstand, or being held by anyone? We thought we should pay a little attention to how a book journeys from the idea phase to becoming reality. Joining us to do that today is Christiana Lamba, who is a writer, book editor, transcriber, and publishing entrepreneur. She graduated with a law degree from a Cameroonian university and has held business positions in various public and private companies in Nigeria and West Africa. Perhaps most importantly, Christiana is a big fan of books. If you ever want to write a book one day, you might just find my chat with Christiana very enlightening. Enjoy it. Christy, nice to have you on the Channel's Book Club.
Thank you.
Okay, now, everybody has a book, or everybody has seen a book, or, I mean, we all have books in our lives. But what's the story of a book? Let's go through the life of a book from the conceptualization stage to when we all have it here with us, you know, physically. Who are those involved in creating a book?
Okay, thank you. As you mentioned, it all starts with the writer, who is usually the author of the book most times. And it begins from the point where he comes up with the idea of, or decides to write a book, where he thinks of what to write, what topic to write on, whether it be fiction or non-fiction. And then, you know, the process starts from him. As soon as that is done, that's when the life of a book commences. He can either be, his book can either be fiction or non-fiction. Yeah, so it starts with him. And okay. From that point, he
starts to write.
He starts to write. Sometimes there are skilled writers who have time to write, while there are those who do not have the time to write. Now, those who do not have the time to write would hire someone who is called the ghostwriter. The ghostwriter is someone who makes the work of the writer easier. So,
and a lot of books, I mean, all over the world are ghostwritten, actually.
Well, at
least the ones written by, published by, or authored by celebrities,
public speakers,
I mean, the big names out there who probably don't have the time to write.
They don't have the time to write, and they do not have the skill as well. Some of them have the skill, but just don't have the time. So that's why they get the ghostwriter to work
okay,
with them.
So the writer comes with the idea, begins the process of writing, yes. Writes the book. What's next?
The next phase would be the editing. The editing. This is extremely important because, you know, whether you're skilled or you're not skilled, you don't want to put out jargon out there. You want to put something that is, you want to put out something that is perfect or almost perfect, something that people can understand, something that will attract the readers, that will keep them, you know, reading and wanting more. So the next group of people that the author or the editor works with are the editors. Now they go through the manuscript, they correct the grammar, they check the tenses, they arrange the structure of the book, and just to get it in top shape. So the role is extremely important because they get to see what the author doesn't see, they get to hear what the author doesn't hear, and they know exactly, most times they know what the reader wants to get from a book. So they're extremely important. So
when we see books that are full of bad grammar and bad structure, we should be thinking about the editor. Who edited this?
Yes. And well, sometimes, even though the writer is not an editor, it would be nice for him to, it would be nice for the editor to go through his book, because, I mean, you don't want to leave it to chance. It was so bad to pick up a book and the tenses are all wrong, the punctuations are all wrong, because it gives the text a wrong meaning. So, I mean, you don't want that. So every author must ensure that he gets the best editor, the best. You must spend. You must pay for it. You can't just...
Because your name is going to be on the book.
Yes, you must spend. Well, some authors are very, I mean, they don't want to pay the editor to do it, so they probably give it to someone else, please, and probably family and friends to do it, you know. So
and then it turns out to be a big mess.
Yes.
Pardon me. Okay, so editors, very important.
Very important.
Okay, so the writer writes, the editor edits.
Yes.
Who is next? The proofreader is next.
Yes.
What's the difference between the proofreader and the editor?
Okay.
Some people classify proofreaders as editors. Some people, they are just they're standalone professionals. I mean, different from the editors. What's the main difference?
The editor ensures that the book is up to standard. He looks out for the structure. He gets the idea of the author, and he puts it in that form that, you know, I mean, you know, he kind of links the author with the reader, so there's a balance. And then he restructures the entire book, actually. Sometimes, in most cases, he restructures the entire book just so that it can be perfect.
Okay.
While the proofreader just does a little checks here and there, something that probably the editor has missed out.
It's like the finisher, basically.
Yes, the finisher.
The finisher.
Yes.
That's the finishing.
His work is not so much, but it's very important.
Very important. Okay. So we have the writer, the editor, the proofreader.
Yes.
So who else is involved?
We have the illustrator. The illustrator also works very hand in hand with the author. So he designs pictures, graphics.
All those drawings.
Yes,
and
pictures,
so we have them
graphics
in
that
books.
will match the text, match the chapter headings and everything that you see, keeps it attractive. Some of them you can see in children's books. It keeps them very, you know,
glued to the
pages. Even some adults some adults don't like to read books that don't have pictures. So it keeps it keeps the book very interesting.
Okay.
Yes, and then after that you have the graphic designer. So now the illustrator works with the graphic designer. He passes his message across to him, and then the graphic designer designs the cover of the book, the page layout, tells the illustrator tells him
all the text and all the drawings
the font,
and
we
everything.
Want this kind of font. I have a favorite font. So every author has their own favorite font. Anything that is captivating, that will catch the audience, you know. So that's what the
designer does. Okay, so we've got the writer, we've got the editor, we've got the proofreader, we've got the illustrator, we've got the graphic designer or designer, as the case may be. And that's very important because some books are not well laid out and they don't look appealing.
Yes.
When you open the pages, you don't want to read the next page, really, because of the way they are laid out. Is that correct?
That's true.
So a designer is very, very key.
Very important.
In terms of packaging, presenting a book.
Yes.
Interesting. So who else is involved?
In an ideal world, the publisher would have come immediately after the writer.
Okay.
In some circumstances, the publisher approaches a good writer, for example, and tells him that we would like you to write on something, on a particular topic, and then, you know, and then they begin to work from there. And so the publisher is supposed to coordinate all the other people.
So you're talking about the publisher now,
publisher
the next
now,
man.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, in an ideal world, he should come immediately after the writer. So he coordinates the editing, the graphics, everything, you know, proofreading. He works very closely with the illustrator, the printer, up to the last point where the book gets into the market. So usually that's the function of the publisher.
Okay, so the publisher.
Yeah.
Who else is in the picture here?
The printer.
The printer.
The printer. I mean, if we have so many books printed in hard copies right now, and the printer is also very important because he's also skilled in his own job description or something. So he decides, okay, well, he also works with probably the publisher or the graphic designer or the author, and they decide how they want the book to be. The paperback, the color of the paper, the colors.
What type of paper?
What type of paper?
What type of texture of paper?
Yes, how you want the book put together.
The binding.
Everything to make it look attractive.
Okay, and of course there are the e-book creators, but I mean we are out of time at the moment. But we pretty much covered
the life of a book.
Yeah, the life of a book. The writer,
Process.
the editor, the proofreader, right? The
Yes,
illustrator, the graphic designer, the publisher, the printer. So there are a whole lot of professionals involved in bringing a book to life.
That's true.
Wow. Thank you very much, Christy.
Thank you for having me
Thanks
here.
for your time.
Thank
It's been nice
you.
having you.